University of Loyola-Chicago. Many people hear this and think back to the 2017-2018 basketball season, the year that they defied all odds and made it to the Final Four. This moment will forever be ingrained in sports fans' minds as living proof that there is no such thing as being an underdog. Led by Coach Porter Moser, this team was ready for the next season. Coming off an 18-14 record in the 2016-2017 season, the Ramblers wanted to prove that they really could be that team. In their conference tournament last year, they beat Bradley 74-66, but couldn't handle Wichita State Shockers, losing to them 66-58. Milton Doyle was their top scorer and their best player. However, he was a senior, therefore he would be leaving the team, and he ended up going to play in the NBA, where he played for the Brooklyn Nets for a season. Although they lost him, they would be gaining many players during the offseason. They received Marcus Towns after he transferred from Fairleigh Dickinson. He had to wait a year after transferring to become eligible, which is why he did not play in the 2016-2017 season. They also got Lucas Williamson from Whitney Young in Illinois and Cameron Krutwig from Harry D. Jacobs High School, also in Illinois. This team was going into the 2017-2018 season with high hopes of success. Their starters consisted of Dante Ingram, a guard and a forward, 6'6", and he was number 0. He was a senior. Marcus Towns, a guard, 6'4", number 5, a junior. Clayton Custer, a guard, 6'1", number 13, a redshirt junior. Ben Richardson, a guard, 6'3", number 14, a senior. And Cameron Krutwig, a center, 6'9", number 25, a freshman. Other contributors to the team were Lucas Williamson, a guard, 6'4", number 1, a freshman. Andre Jackson, a forward, 6'5", number 24, a senior. They started off their 2017-2018 season hot with a 7-0 record against non-conference teams. They beat teams like Wright State, Eureka, UMKC, Samford, Mississippi Valley State, UNC Wilmington, and Kent State. They then lost their first game in a Missouri Valley Challenge at Boise State, where they lost badly 83-57. This game was a rough patch in the season, but they continued to fight through it. They then won their next 3 games against USC, Florida, and Norfolk State. The win against Florida was a big deal because Florida was ranked number 5 in the nation at the time, and Loyola-Chicago beat them by 6. This is when everyone started to realize that this Loyola-Chicago team is legit, and they could be a very dangerous team down the road. They then lost their last non-conference game to Milwaukee 73-56. Overall, the team was 10-2 and looking like a very plausible team going forward into the conference games. Their first conference game was a loss to Missouri State, 64-59. Not a bad loss, but the team now has lost 2 in a row and was looking up to pick some steam and start winning some games. They won their next game against Evansville, but then were defeated by Indiana State. At this point, the season was looking concerning because it seemed like Loyola-Chicago couldn't get a run started. This was the case until they won their next 7 games. They beat teams like Northern Iowa, Illinois State, Bradley, Southern Illinois, Valparaiso, Drake, and Northern Iowa again, all teams in the Missouri Valley Conference. This was a huge run that Loyola-Chicago needed to get that spark back. Seeing a team be able to do that can definitely show a promising future in the tournament. They then lost their next game against Bradley, but then they won the last 7 games of their season, beating Missouri State, Drake, Indiana State, Valparaiso, Evansville, Southern Illinois, and Illinois State. With a total record of 25-5 and 15-3 in the conference, Loyola-Chicago was ready for the Missouri Valley Tournament. Their first opponent would be the 9-seeded Northern Iowa. They snuck by Northern Iowa, beating them just by 4 points with a final score of 54-50 in a defensive battle. Next, they would see number 5 seed Bradley, who they beat by 8 with a score of 62-58. And in the championship game, Loyola-Chicago would go on to play Illinois State, who they handled pretty well, beating them 65-49. This would be enough to get Loyola-Chicago an 11 seed in the NCAA March Madness tournament. Going up against the 22-10 Miami, Florida Hurricanes, This team was proven to be very good with Lonnie Walker IV, who is now a very solid player in the NBA. yet everyone still seemed to have high hopes for this team. The 11/6 seed was the very common upset in March Madness. It is the second most common upset behind the 10-7 seed game. The 9 seed over the 8 seed isn't really considered an upset due to the fact that these games are usually just 50-50. Loyola-Chicago was the most picked 11-6 upset out of all 4 of the 11-6 games. Loyola ended up beating Miami by a 3-point buzzer beater from Dante Ingram. The game was a thriller and close all the way through. Dante Ingram finished with 13 points, Cameron Krutwig finished with 11 points, and Clayton Custer finished with 14 points. Their next game would be against the 3-seeded Tennessee, who they beat 63-62. The game was close the whole time, but Clayton Custer hit a go-ahead bucket with 3 seconds left, and the Loyola Ramblers edged Tennessee in similar fashion as their last game. Clayton Custer finished with 10 points, and Andre Jackson finished with 14 points. Their next game would be against the 7-seeded Nevada, who the Martin twins were leading this team. Nevada had a 12-point lead early on in the game. However, Loyola took the lead before halftime. They seemed to play even better in the second half, leading by 10 points for quite a while. Loyola was then leading by 1 point with 10 seconds left, and Marcus Towns hit a 3-point dagger to give them a 4-point lead. The Ramblers ended up edging Nevada by 1 point in their usual fashion of close games with a late bucket in the end. Marcus Towns finished with 18 points, Clayton Custer had 15 points, and Andre Jackson had 15 points as well. Their next game would be against the 9-seeded Kansas State. The region of this bracket would go down as the craziest there ever was, considering a 16 seed had beaten a 1 seed for the first time in NCAA March Madness history. Loyola-Chicago seemed to dominate Kansas State, leading the whole game by 10 points or more for a good portion of the game. They ended up beating Kansas State 78-62, moving on to the Final Four. Ben Richardson finished with 23 points, Dante Ingram finished with 12 points, and Marcus Towns had 13 points. This goes down in history because Loyola is just the 4th team seeded 11 to make the Final Four. This is crazy because an 11 seed has a 2.4% chance of making the Final Four, and the Ramblers were able to do just that. Their Final Four opponent would be the 3-seeded Michigan. The winner of this game would have a chance to win the national championship. Loyola-Chicago stayed with Michigan throughout the first half, and even had a 10-point lead on them at the start of the second half. However, Loyola seemed to fall apart late in the second half, and ended up losing the game 57-69. This was a great run that will definitely go down in history as one of the most exciting teams to watch. Here's an interview with Coach Porter Moser on the loss.
Porter, you guys got off to a great start. How did this game flip?
You know, we had a run of turnovers. You know, we've been all year long. We've been able to space it and drive it. And you got to credit Michigan. They shrink the opportunity to attack. I mean, there's the window. They shrink it fast defensively, and they were just we thought there was an open back cut. And the next time they shrunk it so fast, and we snowballed 5 or 6 turnovers in a row, and they capitalized on them. That's what good teams do. I mean, Wagner got three free. He got out of a double team and kicked it for one in the corner, and our rotations just came. I thought we rotated and did so many really good things defensively, and in that run with the turnovers, it was a little slower on the other end on the rotations, and you got to credit them. They stepped up and capitalized on those turnovers in that run.
But when you guys had that lead in the second half, how close was it for you guys to maybe extend it and maybe pull away?
Well, there was. I know Matthews had a couple drives that, you know, he just got really aggressive and swept and drove baseline left and made a nice shot. And then we took, you know, it's hard. It's a tough thing. We're really confident in each other shooting the ball. But I might have taken 1 or 2 quick ones. And things like that snowball on you and with the turnovers. But I specifically remembered a really key play when we kind of locked up a double team with Wagner in the back, and he just threw it over the top, just a bullet opposite, and they won more to quick. And I'm just watching Ben hustle, and he just couldn't get there, and it kind of it's very tough, you know, because you got to credit their defense. I'm telling you, when you're just feeling it, I've watched our guys move and cut all year, and to where it opens up and they get each other a shot. And that window of opportunity shrinks really fast with Michigan's defense, and you got to give them credit.
In what way has Loyola-Chicago basketball changed forever?
It's tough to talk about because how I feel about these guys. And I told them when they walked off the floor to keep their heads up. I mean, the more you invest in something, the harder it is to let it go. And Ben was, he was saying, I don't want it to end. And I told him to keep his head up. When you look back on people's career, you want to know, did you impact people? Did you impact a university? And take away the wins, take away the Missouri Valley Championships, they impacted a student body, alumni, and they've impacted a lot of lives. And the word, the name Loyola University of Chicago, I think forever will be perceived differently because of those guys. I mean, of how hard they worked, how unselfish, and how the character they had, and the pride the city of Chicago had. And I'm just so proud of these groups. They impacted and changed a lot. And that's hard to do, Andy. That's hard to do from where we were to where we are, and they did it.
If there's one memory, though, that you're going to hold in your heart after all this, what is it?
Oh, that's a hard one, too. There's just so many. It's the pure joy of when it was just us, like at a meal, after a win, and just traveling, watching these guys enjoy it, it's more than the wins. It's the journey of spending time with a great group on how much they invested to watch them enjoy the rewards. I remember how the connected. I mean, those guys use the word family and love a million times in our locker room, and that's what I'm going to remember is the closeness and how much they invested and bought in.
Thanks, Porter.
Thanks, Andy.
Here is an interview of Clayton Custer before the Michigan game, talking about how his life has changed and really what's been going on since this tournament run has really started.
Nickname can't be Clay.
I mean, I don't really have a nickname, I don't think.
Why not the General?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, everybody, that's
Okay.
kind of what it's been. Everybody's been calling me the General. That is true.
Okay. How has life changed around campus for you?
I mean, it's been insane. I mean, when we got here when I got here a couple years ago, I mean, basketball wasn't important to anybody on campus, and the way that it's transformed this year into having everybody talk about us, everybody's wearing their maroon and gold around campus, saying stuff to us all the time. It's been crazy, and it's been really fun.
If I told you 4 months ago you guys were going to the Final Four, you would have said what?
I mean, I probably would have questioned it. That's for sure. I knew that we were going to have some pretty good pieces. I mean, we have a lot of good players on our team, a lot of character guys who have won a lot in their lives. But I mean, I think I'd be lying to you if I said I was expecting to go to the Final Four. I don't think any of us thought we would be at this point. But now that we're here, I think that we can kind of continue on and maybe win a couple more games.
Has a professor asked for an autograph yet?
No professors asked for autograph. They have not. But
Pictures?
Pictures. I know one kid on our team said that a professor did ask for a picture, but we've had plenty of pictures and autographs just from like the students on campus and stuff, and it's been really fun to kind of experience this with all the guys on our team.
All right. Well, give me the story about taking a picture that people didn't know that you were on the team.
I mean, that stuff's been happening to me my whole life, though. I mean, it's not like that's the first time somebody didn't think I looked like a basketball player. But I mean, basically, we were going through the hotel, and so at our hotel in Atlanta, there was like this big FBLA thing going on. There are all these high school kids, like future business leaders, I guess, of America or something. Yeah. And the elevators were crazy. Like you would have to wait like 15, 20 minutes just to get on an elevator to go up to our room. So the hotel people were escorting us to these like other elevators that we could use whenever we would get back from practice or shoot around or whatever. And we were waiting for this elevator, and there was this little like high school girl, I guess. And she came up and she was like, "Oh my God, like, I want to get a picture with the team. Like, can I take a picture with you guys?" And then she I was kind of next to her on her side, and she looked at me and goes, "Sir, Mister, will you take the picture of me and the team?" and I was actually gonna do it. I was actually being polite, and I was like, yeah, I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture of you guys. But then all my teammates heard what she said, and so they were all like, "Oh my gosh,
that's
this
good."
So I mean, it was funny. We got a good laugh out of it for sure.
Well, maybe Michigan will forget that you're out there though, Clayton, and you can make them pay. You can be anonymous when you get out there.
I hope that that's the deal. I hope that they forget about me and hopefully make some plays.
Give me your official height and weight.
I think I'm listed at 6'1". I'm probably 6 foot, 180.
Wow. You don't want to mess with that, do you, Clayton?
No, you don't want to mess with that.
But growing up you grew up in Iowa, right?
No, I grew up in Kansas City. I went to Iowa State for my freshman year, but I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas.
Big Chiefs fan, Royals fan?
Yeah, a huge Chiefs and Royals fan.
Did Kansas recruit you?
Kansas recruited me. They never actually offered me out of high school. I had offers from K-State, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. So I had some of the big, a good majority of the Big 12, and then I ended up committing to Iowa State out of high school, and then transferring after my freshman year.
Okay, so if I gave you a dream scenario, just hypothetical, you're going to beat Michigan, and you could either play Villanova or Kansas for the national title. The team that spurned you, the school that said you're not good enough to come here, General Custer, I'm sorry. Would you rather play Villanova or Kansas for the national title?
Oh, I mean, I'd want to play KU for sure.
Okay, that's the right answer. That's the right answer.
I mean, to get to play them in the national championship and have the chance to compete against them. Obviously, we a bunch of my friends go to KU and stuff too, and it would just be a crazy thing, and it would obviously be pretty cool to beat them. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to play Kansas for sure.
Can you explain Sister Jean, this phenomenon here?
Yeah, Sister Jean is amazing. I mean, she's the type of person when you walk in the room, she lights it up. She makes you feel more comfortable and better about what's going on. She deserves. I'm glad that the nation's starting to get to know her because we've kind of all known how special she is for a long time, and we're glad that everybody's starting to see that now because she's really an inspiration to a lot of us, and for her to be doing what she's doing at age 98 is incredible.
Yeah. Did she ever shoot around with you guys?
No, I've never seen her shoot baskets, but I'm sure if she tried, she'd probably make some shots.
You're a junior, right?
Yeah, I'm a redshirt junior.
Okay. If you declare for the draft, you can come on this show if you'd like, and then we could have a press conference and have you tell people you're going pro.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
but you're not leaving after this year, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. No. It's not breaking news. No. He's staying. He's not going. It's not breaking news. Yeah. No. Clayton General Custer is staying. Fritzy, what do you have here? With a new nickname for him?
We got a new nickname from our friend Twos in the back, but he gave this over to me, so I'm going to take it. Bracket Buster Clayton Custer.
Oh.
There we go. I like that one.
Clayton Bracket Buster Custer.
There you go.
I like it.
I like that one, too.
It's a little wordy, but it's okay. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue during the highlights. How many threes can I pencil you in for on Saturday against Michigan? Just so I get an idea here. Let me write this down.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't make a whole lot against Kansas State, so hopefully, I think if the percentages, if my percentages hold true, I should be good for at least a few on Saturday.
All right, and don't be afraid to pass the ball either, Clayton. Okay?
No, I'm never afraid to pass the ball.
I like that. Hey, congrats! A lot of fun for you, and good luck against Michigan.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
That's Clayton Bracket Buster.
Here's another interview with Coach Porter and Moser on the Loyola-Chicago run and just March Madness in general on the Dan Patrick Show.
Coach coach at Loyola of Chicago. Had a great run in the tournament. He's Porter Moser. Joins us on the program. Coach, how are you?
I'm great, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Or where are you, I should say?
I'm back in Chicago. I headed out after Sunday after the game, and I just got back with my family and watched the game with my 3 boys, my daughter, and my wife at my house last night.
Break down the game last night. What did you see from a coaching perspective?
I tell you what, Dan, you saw elite defenses, and with especially in the beginning, just how long they are and just fundamental. They close out so well. But the thing about Villanova's offense and Michigan's, they go downhill with their drives. I mean, they space you, but when they drive, like DiVincenzo, I mean, he's not just a shooter. When he drives, he puts it, we call it body up, body in. He drops his shoulder and he goes downhill, and then they kick it. They're very unselfish. They space the floor. Everybody can shoot it, and that's so hard when you get all 5 guys that can shoot the 3, because then that downhill driving becomes so effective. And I thought Michigan was, really good. I know Villanova was just almost impossible to beat last night, but Michigan, I saw firsthand, their defense is just really, really good.
What did you know about DiVincenzo?
It's funny, Dan. During the year, I saw him play a game about 2 weeks before the season ended, and he had one of the same kind of first halves. I'm trying to think who it was against. It was in the Big East, and it was and I just remember how passionate the kid is. I remember how quick a trigger and confident he is. But I also said, he's just not this kid that can just shoot it. He can shoot with range. He can make contested shots, but he can go downhill off the bounce. And if you saw last night, he hit a couple threes, and then he had Michigan's defense kind of leaning, and then that's when he went downhill and finished at the rim. He's not one of those guys like me that finish at the bottom of the net. He gets down there and he finishes at the rim. And I think he's really good, high energy, competitive as hell.
Could you watch last night's game without not thinking about being there in the national title game?
Dan, I had a bunch of my close friends that know me well. They one of them texted me like, don't think about what if, think about what is. And he's a coaching friend, and I thought that was really good advice. And because it was tough, I'll sit back, months or weeks from now and just kind of reflect on what we did for our university and our program. But you're in that moment, and all you can think about is the game in front of you and trying to get where you want to go, and that's to win it all. And it was tough. We had a 10-point lead, and we had a barrage of turnovers. We had a 5-minute stretch. I thought that really cost us. But, I was watching it, and, it was tough. It was tough, but you had to give credit to Michigan and Villanova. Those are the better teams, and they deserve to be there the last night.
The three-point shot in college basketball, what it is now, what it means now, and where are we headed, do you think?
I think it's such a weapon, and you're seeing more and more teams use it because it's not as far as, with kids' strength and range now, the NBA 3 is commonplace range when you stop and look at the tapes and you see where these guys at our level are shooting it. But where it's at right now, you got to utilize it. I can't stand the 17-foot, 18-foot shot right in front of the 3. I want to space, and I want to space the shooting. I want to recruit shooters. For what we did this year at Loyola, we were trying to play with at least 4 guys on the floor that could shoot the 3 at all times. And I think it's exciting. I think it spaces the floor. It creates better offense. I think with the new rules the last couple of years that they implemented with the no hand checking, the freedom of movement, you're seeing better offenses, driving, kicking. And I think it's a weapon that I think you got to be we love utilizing it.
Porter Moser, the Loyola-Chicago head coach, joining us Continental Tire Coach's Corner. How many schools have reached out to you or your agent?
Let's just get right to it, right?
Yeah, I waited. I waited 5 minutes, but let's not kid anybody. You're a hot ticket right now.
Well, right now I hate to be like this. I love my AD. I love Chicago. They've reached out for we're talking, and that's kind of where it is right now. And I tell you, there's just we spent so much energy, my staff and I, building this from a grassroots build-up. And I feel like we got it in a good place that can even move forward. And so I really haven't thought about it. Like, I'm honest to God, Dan, through this tournament, and then it kind of all of a sudden the questions have been coming yesterday and today. And I sat down and had breakfast with my AD Steve Watson, who I really like. We got a great relationship, and then and we're going to go from there.
Yeah, I know. I hate this time of the year. I love the story of Loyola-Chicago, but every year it feels like there's a school that has a run, and then the coach is not going to stay. And I know it's a business as well, and you got to do what's right for all your kids. But hopefully it's a Shaka Smart situation where he stayed at VCU for a few more years, and you got a good team coming back and a chance to do some more damage there. So I know it's a lot to think about, but I sort of
no, it is, Dan. I hate to interrupt you. You're right. You're right. I had a great coaching friend who has stayed at a school at this level, and he said, "Don't run from happiness." And I'm happy. I am. Now I hope all this moves in the right direction for my family and I. But I'm happy. We've spent so much time investing. I do believe this. I played at a Jesuit school. I played at Clayton, and I watched how the meteoric rise of their basketball program and how the community and everything. And Clayton will never go backwards. I mean, that program is just skyrocketing. And there's a lot of them like that, Gonzaga. And we've got a lot of work to do to get to that point, but we made a huge step this year. And I'm from here. I'm a Catholic kid from Chicago who grew up here, a Chicago sports fan. I love all this diehard sports fan. And so I am happy, and I'm hoping this moves in the right direction.
What famous person do people mistake you for?
Let me see. Who's got the biggest ears in showbiz? Let's see. Let me wear my college friends. It was hard to wear the Final Four hat. I don't wear hats well. I put my Final Four hat on after we beat Kansas State, and it just looked like I had two frisbees popping out the side of my head. It's just a tough team that I got.
Do you look like it? Did somebody say you look like somebody? Anybody? You never been mistaken for somebody?
No,
Wow.
No. I'm trying to think. I haven't. I mean, I haven't.
You need a winter hat. You don't wear a baseball hat, like a Final Four, a winter hat that you can wear that kind of cover up the ears a little bit there, Coach.
That's a great idea. One of those, maybe earmuffs, just throw them back down. The Royal Rambler earmuffs that might hide them.
Hey, congrats. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully you have some opportunities there to decide upon and, reload for next year.
Dan, thanks so much. Big fan always, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Coach. That's Porter Moser, Loyola-Chicago head basketball coach.
Sister Jean was responsible for a lot of the exposure that Loyola-Chicago received after the Ramblers' upset of Miami. Her popularity kept developing after the Ramblers defeated Tennessee and then moved on to the Sweet 16. The 98-year-old immediately turned into a star. She even had her own bobblehead sold for more than $300 on eBay. Loyola at last progressed to the Final Four, unexpectedly, since 1963, where they were obviously defeated by Michigan. Sister Jean keeps an office in the understudy place nearby and lives in rookie quarters, offering guidance to individuals who visit her. In this interview, we really get to see how great of a person she really is and how much she cares for these group of men.
Emotional about the whole thing, but that doesn't stop me from talking. I want to thank everybody who had part of this, and I keep saying, be careful, San Antonio. The Ramblers are on their way, and I hope we continue, but we always do one game at a time, and so it'll be the next. We know what we want to do next. And the young man said to me the other day, Sister Jean, we broke your bracket, and I said, keep breaking it. That's okay with me. I did have a second bracket, bringing them to the top, so I called it my Cinderella dream bracket. So we'll see how far we go. But all of you have been very conscientious about your jobs, doing a good job, giving great publicity to us, and I'm so happy for Loyola, for my congregation, for the city of Chicago, and for the nation. We need something to boost us, and I think this is what is doing it, because we are almost a Cinderella.
What was it like being out there and celebrating and watching the guys celebrate as they advance?
I just kept thinking of the good that each one did and how happy he was and how each young man is himself out there. and they just work so well together. And as you see, as you've witnessed in the games, they always know who's hot for the night. Everybody's not hot every night, and so they pass the ball to him, and then it goes. And they did such a fantastic job tonight. I was afraid both the coaches were going to get technicals because the two of them were running up and down on the court, and I thought, oh, we don't got it. Let Bruce get it.
Sister Jean, who helped you with your backwards cap style? Was that you?
With my what?
You wore your cap backwards tonight?
Oh, no, I just did it because I knew that's the way they do it. And so I decided to turn it around. And that way, besides, I knew whether I would be at net 1 or net 2. So it was when we got to the second one that I changed it. Yeah.
Sister Jean, one of the players said before the game, you said because your baskets goes in and the other team's doesn't. That's pretty much how it went in the very beginning. You saw the future, huh?
Yes, and I think we distracted the team, Kansas State. I think we actually distracted them enough so that even their best couldn't make baskets. And if you noticed if you were at the pregame interviews like this, I did not give any numbers for any players, but I got them to them before they got in the court. I didn't want anybody calling Kansas State.
So tell me about that second bracket. You said you had a second Cinderella bracket. Tell me who else is in that bracket other than Loyola. And
I asked two more questions. That's it.
Well, I think maybe Villanova will be in that, in a final bracket, with us. Okay.
In the second one, you guys win the second one.
In the second game we played.
The second bracket.
Oh, who do I have winning?
Yes.
Not the Cinderella one, the other one.
No, the Cinderella one. Who do you have winning the Cinderella bracket?
Oh, I have Loyola.
You looking forward to San Antonio?
I'm going to San Antonio. That's going to be great.
Here's another quick interview with Sister Jean on Good Morning America.
Surprise star of the NCAA tournament, the men's tournament. She's not a player. She's 98-year-old Sister Jean, the team chaplain for the Loyola-Chicago Ramblers. And you can see how players hug her after every game. One player even telling her, it was all you. It was all you, Sister Jean, after that miracle basket sent them into the Sweet 16. And Twitter says she was the most tweeted about person of the games this weekend. And there she is, Sister Jean joins us now from Chicago, and the crowd goes wild. Oh, Sister Jean, do you feel the love? Everybody talking about you, even former President Barack Obama, who's from Chicago, he tweeted about you. You're an international star, Sister Jean.
Well, I'm just having a lot of fun. It seemed to mushroom all of a sudden. I really don't know how all this happened, but I kept getting emails and telephone calls, and people from California to the East Coast have sent me emails. People I taught over 60 years ago in the elementary school. It's just brought so many happy memories to me, and I'm really happy to be saying good morning to all of America today, because all of you better be our fans.
She's hired.
Yes. and Sister Jean, you've been watching the team play basketball for almost 60 years, the last 25 of them as the team chaplain. When did your love of basketball begin?
I began to love basketball when I was in high school, because elementary schools in those days didn't have any sports. And when I got to high school, I really liked it. But it was so much different from what it is now. The women's court was divided into 3. So you had 2 guards and 2 forwards at each end. And in the middle, you had 2 centers and 2 sides. And of course, I was a short girl, so I was always a side. No one stepped out of those lines, otherwise you lost the ball. Only the forwards made the baskets. But it was limited. But by the time I began to coach the 7th and 8th grade girls, they were half court. So that was a little better. Now they do the same thing the boys do.
Yeah. I'm curious, Sister. Hey, it's David Muir. I'm curious what you say to the team. We see them leaning over to you and kissing you and hugging you at the end of the game. But what do you say to them before they head out that could help all of us, honestly?
Well, we meet outside the locker room, and in the concourse, wherever the place where we are helps us to do that. And I say a prayer, but sometimes there's a little more than talking to God in the prayer. But I do begin with, good and gracious God, today we hope to win this game. We ask for your courage, ask to give us courage. We already have the confidence. We're focused. We know we want to work hard. We want to get, at the end of the game, we want to be sure that when the buzzer goes off, that the numbers indicate that we get the big W. I pray for the other team, perhaps not as hard, but that's what people tell me. So, but we have God on our side, and these young men have great faith. And if you don't have confidence and faith, then you might as well not be playing.
Amen. You can say that about a lot of things. And you said to us early on, you're such a pro, you said, let us know if you need to wrap. Well, we got to wrap. We're going to a commercial break. The computer is going to take us off, but we would still be talking to you. Sister Jean, bless you, and thank you so much.
You may be wondering where this Loyola-Chicago team is now. Did they have a good NBA career? Did they pan out? Well, here's the answer. Clayton Custer, who averaged 13.2 points per game, 4.1 assists per game, and 2.2 rebounds per game at Loyola, played in the Polish Basketball League and then quit and became a full-time worker at Loyola-Chicago. Marcus Towns, who averaged 11.1 points per game, 2.4 assists per game, and 4.0 rebounds per game, plays in the Spanish Basketball League. Dante Ingram, who averages 11 points per game, 1.6 assists per game, and 6.4 rebounds per game at Loyola, is now in the Hornets G League team. Andre Jackson, who averaged 11 points per game, 0.9 assists per game, 3.3 rebounds per game at Loyola, is now at the Total League in Luxembourg. Cameron Krutwig, who averaged 10.5 points per game, 1.7 assists per game, and 6.1 rebounds per game, still plays basketball at Loyola. And Ben Richardson, who averaged 6.9 points per game, 3.8 assists per game, and 3.0 rebounds per game, now plays basketball at the Swiss League. So no, none of these players really had an NBA career that was panned out, and they didn't have much success after the Loyola-Chicago team. However, they're still playing basketball professionally, just overseas, which is still very impressive.